Hi friends and neighbors, this is your old buddy Mark Rubin from down here in New Orleans, home of not so much social distancing and the COVID-19 hotspot outbreak. Using this time of social distancing to share with you Bloviations, tall tales and stories from the road, most of it true and hopefully all of it entertaining. I've been asked by some dear friends to tell you about how it was that I met Santiago Jimenez Jr, the great tex-mex accordionist down there in San Antonio, who is still with us and who you should be checking out. I spent many years with Santiago, both in the studio and on the road, and I have many tales to tell. I guess I should start at the start. I knew a wonderful musician who lived in San Antonio for a time, and then he lived in Austin, and the Bad Livers were closely associated with him. His name is Steve James. He's a wonderful roots and Americana guitarist and performer. And we were running buddies, and we hung out. And I got a phone call from him saying that his friend Santiago Jimenez had lost his bassist, his beloved bassist, a fellow by the name of Juan Viesca. And Juan Viesca played in a very particular style that was not too far from the slap bluegrass style and also the rockabilly style that I had been playing. In San Antonio, they called this style tololoche. It's just kind of a slang word, I guess, that only is used in San Antonio and now today in northern Mexico to describe this style of playing. Boom, tick, 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 and they use it instead of a drummer. So the Don Santiago, the Santiago the Elder, Santiago Jimenez Jr.'s father, was super famous with his group Suvaladores, and Juan Viesca was the bassist. So the band was accordion, guitar actually, not bajo sexto, and slap bass, el tololoche. And this was a very unique sound, unique to San Antonio. And Santiago, unlike his elder brother Flaco Jimenez, who had decided to break from tradition and kind of move into the Anglo world, Santiago made this really particular decision to stay traditional and stay in the roots and be a traditionalist. And so he served the community rather than break out and move into the Anglo community. He decided that he would stay and service his own community there in San Antonio. So he never changed that style. He did incorporate some elements of the more modern music. And when I say more modern music, I say music from the 50s. But I'll tell those stories later on. However, Juan Viesca was the only person that anybody knew who played that style. And I found out about him, you're gonna like this, on the day that he died. I was channel surfing, and I'd seen a little snippet of a video of Juan Viesca performing in the 40s with Don Santiago, and I wish I could describe it, and I've never seen it since. It was on Univision. It was a black and white little one of those Vitaphone kind of reels, and it showed the band playing a polka, and there was Don Santiago playing, and then his guitar player at the time, whose name I forget, in the middle of the set took out his Martin Triple-Aught 18, beautiful guitar, and he's playing, and then all of a sudden he turns the guitar forward like this, so that the back is like this, and then he pulls out an egg, I'm not making this up, and then he pulls out some lighter fluid, and he breaks the egg on the back of his guitar, and then he pours lighter fluid on the back, not making this up, and lights the back of the guitar on fire, pulls out a knife and fork, and makes an egg and eats it during the polka. Now, not to be outdone, Juan Viesca, his bassist, takes his bass and puts it on top of Don Santiago's head, the back part of it, and then runs around him, playing it while he's going along, slapping it the whole time. This is during the polka. And then finally, when he pulls the bass down, he too, not to be outdone, he too pulls out some lighter fluid, sets the back of his bass on fire, and then to conclude the tune, spins the bass to put it out. Evidently, this was part of their shtick. So that's Juan Viesca for you. Quite the showman, quite the character. And but I find all of this out on the day that he passes. So I never get to meet him. I never get to study with him. And I'm just like, wow. But Steve James tells me that Santiago Jimenez is going into the studio to make a new record the very next day, and he's bereft because he doesn't have a bassist, especially a bassist who knows how to play in the style of Juan Viesca. So, silly me, he gives me his number, and I literally call it, and I pick up the phone, and I go, hello, is this Santiago Jimenez? And he goes back and goes, yes. And I say, I'm a bassist who plays in the style of Juan Viesca, and I understand you're looking for a bassist. Silence on the end of the line. And then, can you be at the studio here in San Antonio tomorrow at 10 a.m.? And I was like, and that was it. That is how I ended up having about a decade-long relationship with El Jefe, the chief of San Antonio. The next morning, I drove down to his studio there in San Antonio, right next to Toby Torres's Taco Heaven, which is one of the few places in San Antonio you could get you a pig's blood taco, but it's not on the menu. You had to ask for it special. So the next set of stories will be about recording that record, which eventually was nominated for a Grammy. So, next installment of Bloviations, Tall Tales, and Stories from the Road. More stories about Santiago Jimenez. Don't forget, I've got that Venmo and that Patreon down there. $2, $3. If I get 100 folks of you, it'll make a big difference in my life. And hey, would you be safe right here in San Antonio, right here in New Orleans? We're a hotspot for the COVID-19, so think about that. We've lost all of our income, and what you see here, friends, this is it. This is going to be my world here for quite some time. So with no source of income, and so I really enjoy doing this for y'all. And if you could shake down a few shekels in the coin of the realm, your old buddy Mark would sure appreciate it. That would keep us in tacos and not the pig's blood kind. So, see you next time.